So we started discussion on relational algebra. So we put a definition, what is relational algebra, that was done. One thing possibly I missed, that what is the significance or importance of relational algebra. Basically, it provides a formal foundation for relational model operation. Basically, as we have said, that a model to provide some language also to work with the relation. So it provides a formal foundation for such operation. More important, it is the basic of implementation and optimization of query on relations. If we want to do operations or later we see that whatever may be the DML operation, in the background always some query is associated. Now this relational algebra, it also provides the basics for implementation and optimization of query on relations. At the later stage, we will be discussing optimization also at the later stage of this course. So there we see that internally the system very much utilizes the relational algebra in order to optimize the queries. And we may say some of the concepts provided by this relational algebra are also incorporated in SQL. So this is a commercial language. So it is the so just a minute. So these are incorporated in SQL also. That we will study later. We will find there is a lot of similarity with SQL. So some of the things have been incorporated there. So that is the importance and significance of relational algebra. Now we initiated discussion on operations. We have looked into one operation, that is the select operation. So this is for filtering, and try to remember that every relational algebra operation, it acts on one or more relations. Okay, again, this is, see, at least 4 times it will happen. So that was the first interruption. I got disconnected. So we'll take up the next operation, that is the projection. Try to remember here, number of tables in output relation may be less. is less than equals to number of tuples in input relation, because we are carrying out some filtering. And in the end schema, output schema is same as input schema. Now see, in the course of optimization, we see that one of our goal will be that we want to reduce the requirement of the internal memory, primary memory. So if we have to carry out the operations with large number of tuples, okay, we can perform initially, we can perform a filtering, then we will be getting a less number of tuples, so that will reduce the burden on the memory. Similarly, a schema may be quite large. Maybe there are some 70, 80 attributes are there in the schema. So it's a high degree relation. Maybe that in our operation, I require only a few. So if we work on the whole schema all the time, so again that will be a burden on the memory requirement. So projection basically, so in order to consider selected attributes or to more general expression in the output schema. So if we say this is the general notation, so this is the input schema or say input relation rather. This is the list of expressions that we want. So in the output relation, number of tuples is same as number of tuples in input relation. It is not performing any tuple filtering, whereas schema will consist of the attribute or expression given in list. Suppose we have a schema like this. Say employee, primary key is employee code, employee name, basic, date join, say department, etc. Suppose if we write eCode in a and basic, so in the output we will be having only these attributes. So output schema will be consisting of eCode in and basic. So from every table it will take the value of only these attributes. That will be forming our output schema. Right? So that is the projection. Now suppose if we write, may not be meaningful, forget it. Say if we write like this, now see, we are asking for eCode and basic, right? See, in the same department, number of persons may have the same basic. So in a table, in the original employee database, say we have some employee code, say maybe that department to E1, say 70K, say employee E2, maybe department E1, 80K, employee E3, department E1, say 70K. So if we look into these, then if we think that, okay, I'll be getting D1 70K, D1 80K, D1 70K. Now see, the way we have defined relation is a set of tuples. In the set, classically we cannot have two elements, exactly same elements. And if we try to remember the relational model constraint, there was a constraint that no two tuples are same. If it is so, then these two occurrences of the same thing, it will be appearing only once. So we'll be getting D1 70K, D1 80K. As this one is already present, it will not come out. So in that case, we may say that number of tuples may be less. So this is duplicate eliminating projection. If it is not a multi-bagged one where number of instances of the same elements are allowed. Basically, we see that in case of SQL, it will allow the multiple occurrence of the same element. But classically, conventionally, this is duplicate eliminating projection. See, these are coming from the model. Not necessarily a commercial one will be following exactly the model in total. There may be certain differences also. So anyway, classically we'll say that this is duplicate eliminating projection. Now this situation may arise if the list doesn't have any candidate key. Because if there is any candidate key, that will be unique for all, for each and every tuple. So we cannot have a duplicate, a tuple where all the attributes are same. But if we are not having any candidate key, then there is a possibility that it will be a duplicate eliminating projection. So this is one aspect. Now, in case of select operation, we have seen that was commutative. Let us see. We'll say this is commutative if this becomes equivalent to, or if it is same as pi list 2, pi list 1, R. If they are same, then only we can say they are commutative. Now see, we have cascaded the operation. So here say if we go for these on this relation, we are selecting these attributes list 2. So pi list 1, the next operation acts on a relation, say R dash, where the schema is nothing but list 1. The schema is nothing but list 1. Now, this will be possible only if list 1 is a subset of list 2. Right? Because if the list 2, suppose we have written, say pi decode, ename, basic, that one. Here, if we have decode, decode is not present here. So, the relation on which this projection will work, in that schema, this list 1 must be present. So if list 1 is a subset of list 2, then it's okay. Then simultaneously, if this one demands list 2 is a subset of list 1. I'll be getting list 1, from there we'll be taking the list 2. Now see, if list 1 is same as list 2, okay, then it is possible. But normally, that's a special case. If list 1 is a proper set of list 2 or vice versa, then this thing will not be supported. Simultaneously, list 1 is a subset of list 2 and list 2 again is a subset of list 1. They are not same. So this will not happen. So that's why projection operation, projection is not commutative. Right? So now we'll look into another operation, say rename. Sometimes in an operation to get rid of ambiguity, we may like to rename a relation or the attributes or both. Example, I will come after some other operations. For the time being, we look into the syntax. I will call me around to another class. Yeah, I will have class, so I don't know. So, rename, this is the operation. Suppose there is a relation with A1, A2, AN. So, these are the attributes. So, if we write, say, S, B1, B2, Bn, so as if in this expression, normally it will be used as a part of expression. We come for the actual example later with some other operations. So in this expression, say if I go for some operation here, then here we can use this thing. So in this expression, the relation R is renamed as S and AIs are renamed as BI. Right? So here, although not meaningful, somebody may want to say BI equals to these, etc., etc. So after this rename operation, as a part of this expression, I can work with BI, I can refer to S. This will require something that we come across later. Now it's not mandated that we have to rename both. So if I write say R A1 A2 AN. So here only R is renamed as S. Similarly, if we give say B1, B2, B3, Bn, then only AIs are renamed. So sometimes we'll see that we'll have to go for renaming. Again, another alternative is there. I mean, the purpose where we will require this, we can go for assignment also. Say the same thing. We can say S, B1, B2, Bn. To these, I am assigning R. Schema of R is say of ND. So these two things are equivalent. So whenever I am writing a relational algebra expression, if it is a very large one, so the intermediate things can be put into some other relation. Say if I simply write R to T, so only the relation name is changed, attribute names are same. So as if the R is big or same, I can put some predicate selection operation. I am putting this to R, this to T. In the next step, I am working with T. So the expression can be broken in this way also. So with the help of assignment also one can do, but the classically the operation is rename. Suppose we have another relation, say department code, department name, if we have some other attributes of the department. Now see, suppose we need employee name and department name. Now see, we are not getting the information from the single relation. Employee name is present here, right? And again, there is no department name. The department name is available here. So when we need the information from multiple, then we'll have to go for an operation called Cartesian product. Say if R1 and R2 are two relation. Say this is having the attributes A1, A2, AN. It is having say B1, B2, BM. Then this Cartesian product, so again, so see, this is one example where the operation requires more than one relation. As we have said, that a relational algebra operation takes one or more relation as the input. So this is the first case we are coming across where the operation is taking more than one relation as the input. So output relation that we will be getting, what will be the schema? Schema of R1 union schema of R2. Finally, in our example, if we go for say department Cartesian product M1, two are having same attribute, decode. So somebody may think that okay, if I go for union, then I will be getting only one decode. No. In generic form, it is the attributes are R1 dot A1, R2 dot R1 dot A2, this way R1 dot AN. Similarly, R2 dot B1, R2 dot B2, R2 dot BN. Right, so see, implicitly there is a qualifier. Now, if we have say two attributes, say here we have an attribute say Z, and it is also Z here. In that case, if we have the same name, then we cannot distinguish them. Then we are bound to specify them as R1.Z, R2.Z. But if the names are different, one can skip. So don't get confused that even if they are having same name in union, only one department code will appear. Implicitly, this is department.decode, this is m.decode. So whenever we be writing the expression, only decode that will be erroneous. When multiple relations taking part in the expression, they are having same attribute name, then we'll have to qualify them using that will be preceded by the relation name. So that will be the qualifier. So output relation will have the schema, that is nothing but the union of the relations taking part in the Cartesian product. If we have multiple, then union of that thing also. And what will be the number of tuples? What will be the number of tuples? So if we take the Cartesian product, every tuple T1 belonging to the state of R1 will combine with each of T2 belonging to state of R2, one at a time. Say in R1 we have some tuples. In R2 also we have some tuples. Say here we are having N1 number of tuples, N2 number of tuples. So it will combine with this one, that will produce one output. See, in the output schema, all the attributes are there. It will again combine with this one, this one, this one, etc., etc. So each tuple here, it will. This one will also. Second disruption. So if we are having n1 tuples here, n2 tuples here, in the Cartesian product we will be getting n1 into n2 number of tuples. So see one thing, Cartesian product is a costly operation. Size of the result will be much larger than the individual relations taking part in the operation. We will be getting n1 into n2 number of tuples, and see size of one tuple is also large because schema becomes union of the individual schema. So Cartesian product is a costly operation. Now, is it meaningful? This is a fundamental operation. This is not meaningful. Suppose if we want to have, say, ename and dename of all employees. So as we have to get the information, ename, dename. Ename is coming from EMP, dename will come from department. So we will go for a Cartesian product. Now suppose in the department table, we have the departments D1, D2, D3, D4, D5. And say all together, there are say 1000 employees with employee code E1, E2, E3, this way, E100. Say working in department D1, D1, D2, this way goes on. Now in this Cartesian product, what will happen? It will combine with this, it will combine with this, it will combine with all. But employee 1 working in D1, when it combines with D1, that's fine. That's fine. But this one, similarly, D2 will combine with this one. Or say, if we consider this one, say this one. E3 working in D2, it is combining with D1. That is not meaningful. So, we are getting lots of unwanted and unwanted tuples, or say non-meaningful tuples in the outcome. Or we may use the term, we are getting spurious tuples, which are not desirable, not meaningful, not making any sense. Then, if I want to retain only the meaningful things, then on the outcomes, we have to do some filtering. We have to do some filtering. What will be the filtering condition? Which one is meaningful? If the department code of the department and the department code of the employee tuple, if they are same, those are only meaningful as per our requirement. As per our requirement. So out of those n1 into n2 number of tuples, we want to retain only those department.decode equals to emp.decode. So when this one combines with these, decodes are same. So this one will be taken. When this one combines with these values are not same. So this one will be dropped. So this way we are making the refinement, the filtering. So if we take the Cartesian product alone will not be meaningful. We may have to carry out some filtering operation. Now see, here I cannot write decode equals to decode. Which decode? So see, the qualifier is important. If it is so, in the schema say if I write here department code, Then if we write decode equals to department code, the attribute names are unique. So even without the qualifier, it can understand. Even without the qualifier, it can understand. But if the names are same, then we'll have to use the qualifier. Otherwise, decode equals to decode, it will not understand anything. So Cartesian product needs filtering to retain only meaningful tables. Now we require only employee name and department name. So again, see, we are cascading so many operations. Finally, we will be taking the projection. We will be taking the projection. We require ename and dename. As these names are present only in one schema, so that's why I have dropped the qualifier. But if somebody writes emp.ename department.dename, fine, no issue. But that can be dropped, as we have said, if the names are not, if there is no collision between the relation taking part in the operation. So let's see, we can go on cascade. Now, if two relations okay, based on these, there is a join operation. This is not a fundamental operation, it is a derived one. See, this is the core of this particular thing is our Cartesian product. Product and filtering, we can go for this join operation. Basically, this portion we can write on this we are taking the projection. Right, now see, the schema is same, the union of the attributes of the two things. Now, in this predicate, we may use certain relational operators, greater than, less than, etc., etc. So in general, we say that this is theta join. But if it is based on equality of attributes, equality of attribute values, then it is called equijoin. All the time it may not be based on the equality of the things. If required, we can go for using and or not, that kind of logical operators also. So if the predicate is consisting of equality of the attribute values, this is equals to this attribute, this particular case. this is equijoint. But in general, it may not be based on only equality. So in general, we say this is theta joint. But if the relational operator is equality, then we say this is equijoint. But see, what about this final projection? Say here, what will be the schema? We have joined them based on the equality of the department code. But see, the schema is department dot decode, department dot rename, then m dot decode, m dot rename, m dot basic, or other attributes. At least I should write up to this m dot date join, m dot decode. Now see, after the equijoin, this one, whatever we will be getting, if we get department decode is D1, then m dot decode is also D1. Because we have carried out a filtering based on the equality of these two attributes. So under this column, the information that we are getting, and under this column, we are getting the same information, so redundancy. So in case of equijoin, there may be based on the attributes, multiple attributes, say A1 equals to B1 and A2 equals to B2, etc. etc. So attributes compared for equality in equijoin will all appear in the schema. So in multiple columns, so in multiple join, let's say for joining attribute, those we say those are the joining attribute. The attributes which are being compared, those we say those are the joining attributes. So for joining attributes in more than one column, same information is obtained as output relation. So this is unnecessary. Redundancy is there because they will be giving us the same information. So then how to handle this? You take the projection. In the projection out of these two, keep only one. Right? If I go for say x equals to y kind of thing, if it is so, then you take the projection. So out of x and y, take only one. Right? Retain all other things, all except x or y. Then there will be a single copy. Exactly that thing again a derived operation, that is natural join. So natural join, this is a modified version of equijoin. It goes for equality of all common attribute pairs from the schema being joined. When you say common attribute pairs, name must be same. So if it is decode, if it is department code, then they are not common. So for natural join, the name of the attributes also must be same. Then only they will be considered as common attribute. So name must be same. Suppose we have a relation R1 XYZ W, say R2, say PQ XY. It is like this. The symbol for natural joining is say R1 star R2. So if we go for R1 star R2, so equality of all common attribute pairs. So we have this XY XY. So if I write in terms of the equally join, as if R1 dot X equals to R2 dot X, and so they are ANDed. R1 dot Y equals to R2 dot Y. And finally there will be a projection, because only one of the common attributes, or only one from the common attribute will appear in schema, output schema. So in the output schema here, output schema will be, see, these are the x common, y common, so only one x, only one y, then the rest of the things. Say z, w, p, q. This will be the output schema. So here, output schema is x, y, z, w from R1, p, q, x, y from R2. So we'll have to take the projection to retain only one of that. When we write natural join, it is implied. Now suppose, essentially they are the same thing, but I have written the name of the attribute department code. Then how can I carry out natural join there? Because if employee and department both are having the common attributes as decode, fine. But now this is department code, this is decode. What we can do? We can go for renaming. Rename, I can write, say, rename department decode. Sorry. So I am writing M star this is so this department decode is renamed as relation name, keeping same department underscore decode. So now both are having department underscore decode, or one can change the renaming operation here also. So on this output, then we are taking the natural join. So that is one example of renaming operation that will be given. Or somebody may write like this way also, using the assignment operator. 2T, I am say putting T department code, department decode. Then doing say EMP start T. That way also we can put the expression. So anyway, so see, we started from condition product. That is a fundamental operation. Then we went for join. Then we have seen that we have some predicate. So this is nothing but this is the, I mean, it will give lot of spurious triples. So if we apply a refinement, some filtering, so in join operation, instead of writing SPC select, as setting of select operation, we can specify the predicate. Now depending on the nature of the predicate, it may be a general theta join. A special case of theta join is equi-join. In case of equi-join, we have seen that okay, common attributes are appearing multiple times in the schema, so we have to apply some projection here. But again, it has been defined by another thing, natural join. So if we want to express the natural join using fundamental operations, then basically Cartesian product, on that some selection, on that the projection. But we have certain derived operations provided here. Suppose from this employee relation, we want to find out pair of iname with same basic. Suppose, say during the exam, I have the result, I want to find out the pair of the students with same score, so that I will be scrutinizing those online submitted answer scripts. Right. So, okay, that will be an insult for you. So, I'm taking this employee example. I want to find out the pair of the employees with same basic. Say we have employee E1, E2, E3, E4. Say 80K is the basic, 80K is the basic. Say 70K, say 70K, E5, say 60K. Say it is like this. So what is, say name is ABC, XYZ, PQR, RST, TUV. So this is up here. Right? And this is another pair. So if it is ABC, XYZ or XYZ, ABC, it's hardly matters. So how can I do this? See, if we work with two copies of employee, say copy 1, copy 2, if we take their Cartesian product, right? I have two copy, then what will, so E1 will combine with all, E2 will combine with all, E3 will also combine with all, so this way, then we'll see that for which combination the basic is same. Right? For which combination the basic is same. Say, if I say restrict myself only up to this. So as if I have another copy of the employee, ABC 80K, E2 XYZ 80K, E3 EQ1 70K. So if we take the Cartesian product of the two copies, it will combine with this, it will combine with this, combine with this. So E1 ABC 80K, it will combine with E1 with 80K. E1 ABC 80K will combine with E2 XYZ 80K. E1 ABC 80K combines with E3 PQ1 70K. Then think about this E2. So E2 XYZ 80K combines with E1 ABC 80K. E2 XYZ 80K combines with E2 XYZ 80K. E3 sorry, E2 XYZ 80K combines with E3 PQ1 70K, then E3 PQ1 70K combines with E1 ABC 80K, again it will combine with E2 80K, it will combine with E3 70K. Then we have to carry out some refinement, right? So first of all, how I'll be talking about these two copies. So see, now I can use the renaming. Say, I can rename these two, say, TEM. We have applied renaming on this M, so I am getting a TEM. And another I am referring is M. So if I write M cross 10, M cross 10. So as if this is one copy, this is one copy. Say this is, say, okay. So then one from here, I mean, they will be combined. So this way I am getting now this kind of thing. Now what will be the refinement? What is the requirement? That these basic values must be same. Say this part is say coming from Kent people, this is say EMP. So somebody may say that, okay, I put EMP dot basic equals to Kent dot basic. Is it good enough? See what will happen. These two basics are same. So I am getting, so if we take the projection finally, that I need the name pairs, EMP dot ename, EMP dot ename. Then we'll be getting a pair as ABC, another is also ABC. Then ABC XYZ, because these values are same. ABC XYZ, this is not same. Again, this is same. XYZ ABC. Then again same. XYZ XYZ. Then not same. Then E3 PQ1. Here also PQ1. This is also 70K. 70K. So PQR, PQR. Now see, this is the same person. So obviously, I don't want this thing. This is also same. So how to handle that? If somebody says that, okay, I will be writing EMP dot ename not equals to EMP dot ename. This is not good enough. In this case, EMP dot ename is not equals to EMP dot ename. EMP dot ename is not equals to EMP dot ename. So they are basically the same pair. To us, these are not a different pair. So instead of not equals to, if I put some other relational operator greater than or less than, as if ordering between the two names. So if I write EMP dot ename is less than EMP dot ename, then this one will appear, this one will not appear because this is not less than this. Or if I take the vice versa greater than, then these two will not come, these two will come. So see, this is again another example that we are applying the renaming operation. Again, you can do with assignment also. So whenever we are thinking about these conditions, filtering conditions after Cartesian product, it's not necessarily all the time. It will be based on the joining of some primary key and foreign key kind of thing. So it depends on the requirement. Very often we will be going for primary key, foreign key. But sometimes in this particular example, the requirement is a little bit different one. So depending on the requirement, we'll have to think about the filtering condition. We'll go for certain set operation. Say what is union, intersection, I should put minus, intersection, or any kind of, so again it will require more than one input relation. More than one input relation. Say if I carry out set operation on two relations R1 and R2. So input relations, whatever may be the set operations, input relations must be union compatible. Whatever may be the set operations, for set operations. So this is for any set operation. Input relation must be union compatible. Say we want to carry out certain set operations on R1 and R2. They are union compatible if both are of same degree, say n. Degree means number of attributes in the schema, so both must be of same degree. And domain of AI, say AI, so basically say the relation is A1, A2, AN. Now both are of same degree. And the other one is say the schema B1, B2, Bn. Both are of same degree. Domain of AY is same as domain of Bi. So domain of A1 is same as domain of B1, domain of A2 is same as domain of B2. So these were domain of AN is same as Bn. So both are of same degree and the domain of the corresponding attributes are same. Then only we can carry out the set operations on those relations. So now if we look into this union operation. R1 union R2. So all attributes schema is output schema is same as R1 or R2 because both are of same DP and the corresponding attribute domain is same. R1 or R2. It will have all the tables from R1 and R2. Common tables will appear only once, as it is said. Now see, R1 union R2 is same as R2 union R1. So this is again commutative. So this is associative. If we think about minus operation, say R1 minus R2. So again, output schema same as that of R1 or R2. Again, union compatibility must be there. Tuples from R1 which are not present in R2 will appear in the output. Say if this is the set R1, say this is R2, so this is our R1 minus R2. Tuples which are not present in R2. In the intersection part, those are also present in R2. So obviously, R1 minus R2 is not equals to R2 minus R1. Right? Because this is our R2 minus R1. Tuples of R2 which are not common to R1. So this is not commutative. Intersection. So R1 intersection R2, so output schema is same as R1 or R2. Tuples that are common to both will appear in the output. So again see, these operations also, the set operation also works on multiple relations, at least two. Again, R1 intersection R2 is same as R2 intersection R2. So this is again commutative. Here also the associative property will hold. But see, this intersection is not the fundamental operation, because with the help of union and intersection we can do this. Say if we go for R union S minus S union S minus R, or say R1 R2 if I consider the two relations as R1 R2. So this is union taking the all the things which are present only in R1, the things which are present only in R2. If I take the union, so things which are present only in R1, not in R2, only in R2, not in R1. So basically those are not part of the intersection. So from the union, that part is removed. So this thing gives us R1 intersection R2. So intersection operation can be derived from union and minus operation. So this is what the fundamental operation. So the operations that we have talked about so far, see, select operation, project or projection, Cartesian product rename union minus. These are the fundamental operations. On the other hand, say join, natural join, intersection. These are can be derived. So these are the fundamental operation can be derived from fundamental operation. Now see, whenever we will be carrying out the joint operation, the null values that also create problem. We cannot match the null values. So as we have said, the null value has lots of problems. Earlier we discussed about the problems regarding the interpretation. How do we interpret whether this is present, whether the value is intentionally absent or not applicable, etc. etc. Unnecessary wastage of space, as it is not giving me the information, rather it is leading to confusion. And again, in the course of these joint operation also, null values will create problem. Now see, in case of joint operation, we have seen if we are going for joint operation, sometimes if we write it like this without any predicate, then assume equijoin based on the equality of common attributes. So if there are multiple attributes common, they will be anti. So if nothing is written, then assume that is. As if they have the common attributes means name is also same. Right? If you don't write the predicate explicitly. Now in this case, see, tables from R1 and R2 having match with each other. Basically, matching criteria is this. Matching with each other will appear. So those which cannot find match, maybe from R1, maybe from R2. So tables in either of the relation without corresponding match do not appear in the output. Now see, this may create some confusion. Suppose we have department we have employee, say default is a common attribute. So if we write so if we don't give the predicate, it implicitly means emp.default equality of the common attribute. We have only one common attribute, so otherwise there would have been and also and etc. etc. Right. Suppose for an employee the code is not known and get null. No value was given. It is not known. Then here such employee will not appear. So as if existence, if I look into the outcome, existence of that employee becomes invisible. So if I look into this outcome, if I continue with this result, then I am ignoring the existence of that particular employee. So now we may expect that, okay, if the employee has been allocated some department, then show the employee details along with the corresponding department details. Otherwise, at least you show me the employee information without the department information. That means the requirement is now asking for that all employee people must appear and if possible with department info. For this, we specify it like this. So we put some horizontal line. Basically, this is known as left outer join. That means from relation on left, each table will appear in the output. Will appear in the output. If no match with tables on right hand side, if we cannot find a match for the employee table here, then it is padded with it is combined with a table added with null value. So for that employee, as we don't know the department, or say sometimes if there is foreign key, primary key, we have not specified. We have put some erroneous department code which is not present here. That will also not appear. But it ensures that all tables from the employee will be appearing in the final outcome. Even if there is no corresponding match here, it will be padded with a null key. Right? If we want that, okay, there may be some department. Till now, there, say nobody has been allocated to that department. A new one has been formed. Nobody is working there. But if I look into the output, say, I will not find any people with that department because there is no corresponding match here. So then, if it is reversed, that each department must appear in the outcome. So this side we have extended. So right outer joint. So this was left outer joint, right outer joint, right outer joint, and it may be both. So left and right both. Always you can write some predicate here. If we don't write the predicate, then it is assumed that equijoint based on the equality of the common attributes. So left and right both, we say this is full outer joint. If it is a full outer joint, even if there is a match, there is no match. If there is a match, they will be combined together to form a tuple in the output. If we don't have a match or any relation in any of the tuples, that will be added with the, or they will be forcibly matched with the null tuples and will appear in the output. That is ensured. So this is, we have discussed about outer joint. Now we'll discuss outer union. Say, as we have talked about, say R1 union R2, so they must be union compatible. Now, outer union, it deals with the relations having partial union compatibility. Say two relations on which we want to carry out this outer union. Say it is having, say, XYAP, R2 is having XYPQ. So part of the attributes are common, but they have some non-compatibility. So they may be of different degree also, not necessarily they are of same degree, but they like this also. So if we want to carry out R1 outer union R2, schema of R1 union schema of R2. Write it. Now, I should not write like this. Common attributes only in R1, attribute only in R2. So if I go for this, the output schema will be X, Y, A, B, C, P, Q. What will be the tuples? Tuples in R1 and R2 that match based on common attributes. In case of union, the common, if it is a classical union, not outer union, they are union compatible, degree same attributes. So if we find that tuples which are common to both, they will appear once. Now see here, two tuples may match only with respect to the common attributes. say a tuple T1 in say state of R1 and here say T2 in state of R2. Say here we have XY A B C, XY XY P Q. Say here the value is say R1. Here also say here the value is say XY. Here also XY. Say Y. So this is also Y1. So now they matches. So tuples in R1 and R2 that match based on common attributes will rather I say a tuple in R1 and R2 that matches based on common attribute will contribute one tuple. Rather, it should be tuple pair. A tuple from T1 here, a tuple from here. Tuple pair in R1 and R2 that matches based on the common attributes will contribute one tuple in the output where value of additional attributes of corresponding say of R1, then say if the tuple here is T1, T2 will come from T1 and additional attribute of R2 will come from T2. So basically in the output, the schema is XY, A, B, C, P2. So in the output, the common attributes appears only once. Common attribute, union attribute only in R1, union attribute only in R2. So common attributes will appear only once. If the value is same, this pair will contribute towards a single tuple in the output. So we'll have here x1, y1. Then these are additional attributes will come from T1. Additional attributes it will come here. Now tuples. Now obviously we are having unmatched. Here matched means based on the common attributes they are same. Otherwise we'll say those are the unmatched tuples. For that they are matched with a non-tuple. So if we have one particular tuple which doesn't match with the common attributes of this one, these will also appear. In normal union, obviously the things which are not present in the other one, that also appears, same thing. It will also appear. So it will be appearing here and there is no PQ. So PQ will be null now. When I say match to the null tuple means for additional tuple, additional attributes, it will have the null. Similarly, if we have some tuple here for which there is no match, then these will come here. So XY, PQ, and for ABC, it will take the data, it will take null. So that is the outer union. Now see, outer union and full outer join. Are same if equijoin on all common attributes are done. Equijoin is carried out. See, this outer joint will do some equijoin. Say, if equijoin is carried, or if I say if joining is done on the based on the equality of all common attributes. If it is based on the equality of all common attributes. See, if we instead of outer joint, I mean outer union, if you go for fully outer union, fully outer joint, full outer joint, what will happen? If it is based on the equality of all the common attributes, then basically this. So if two peoples having same value for the common attributes, so they will combine. Now as this is full outer joint, if I have one which is not finding a match, it is combined with another one. Only thing is that in terms of the schema, we may have to go for some projection. Forget about that. So in one sense, outer union and full outer join, they become same or equivalent if joining in full outer join, joining is done based on the equality of all the common attributes. Okay, so for today, let us stop here.